start spinning. Jeez! It's a driver's car. It's a driver's car. So what's going on, Gas Gang? Yes, we are back with another sick video. Today it is the first drive in the newest member of the OG fleet. Yes, we are going out in my supercharged 316 brake horsepower Honda Integra Type R. Guys, this is gonna be lit, so stay tuned and let's get it. So yes guys, as the intro said, today is the first drive, and you know we gotta do it, of the new Honda Integra Type R. As I mentioned, this is the newest member to the OG fleet alongside the Fiesta and alongside the Audi RS5, and it is my Dc5 Honda Integra Type R. It's a 2002 model, it's an import, I believe they're all imports in the UK, and yes, it's also been supercharged. It's not a stock car. A lot of you will know from last time, and if you kind of want to see a little bit more in the spec of this car and a bit more of a walk around, I suggest you you know, go back and watch that video. The car's had a lot of work done to it, and as I say, it's not my usual format of buying a car that's had a lot of work done to it. I usually buy them stock, do them up, and you know, just go crazy with them. Whereas this one, you know, it was a bit more of a kind of a sensible buy in my mind, that someone's already spent a lot of money on the car and they've got it to a stage where, you know, I can really get into it now. Like, you know what I mean? I don't have to mess around with quite a few things that should have been or would have been normally upgraded when you kind of, you know, let's say on the hunt for big power or, you know, a well-rounded car. So yes, supercharged. I have said in my plans before that, you know, that supercharger will be coming off, but I think we'll talk about that a little bit more in the drive. Guys, I also want to apologize if I get anything wrong about this car, if I'm murdering any specs or anything like that about the K20 engine, the DC5, or just anything about Honda, because this is actually my first Honda, and I'm new to this game. So I'm basically going to be learning along the way. And also for those who are completely naive to these cars, basically the engine code is a K20A in this. It's a 2-litre engine, basically. In stock form, they come naturally aspirated with about 220 brake horsepower, 216 brake horsepower in this form anyway, in the Integra. And with the addition of the supercharger, we are now running at 316 brake horsepower. The car is mapped by TDI North. And guys, don't get me wrong, if you are already deep into the Honda scene and, you know what I mean, you've seen it all, you know it all, I suggest you still watch anyway, because you know, you might learn a few things, like, you know what I mean, because I'm going to learn a lot, and especially if people don't know anything about, you know, the K20s and the DC5s, or the Honda Integra Type R, you're definitely going to learn a lot. So it's definitely worth staying tuned. You never know, you might pick up a thing or two. It's going to be a crazy journey. And for those of you who want to know, this car has actually got 105,000 miles on the clock. It might actually be like a mix of kilometers and miles. As I say, this is an import, but regardless, it's not too high considering the car is 18 years old, so it's not even 10,000 miles a year. It's way under that actually. And yeah, so 316 brake horsepower, Jackson supercharged, no intercooler, but meth injected to keep those temps down, because they do get very hot. It's got a very track orientated setup to it, which I'll go through a little bit more when we're rolling. But yeah, best thing is to do right now is just to get flowing. So let's do it. We are rolling, guys. DC5 live, Honda live, K20 live, gas. Oh man, I'm so happy with this one. This is, honestly, this is like no car I've ever owned before. I've drove a lot of kind of old school Jap cars, but I've never really owned one. And I think it's fair to say it's bordering on an old school Jap car. 18 years old, it's kind of there, like, you know what I mean? And honestly, guys, when you're driving this car, it makes you feel alive. Now, I've actually said on my previous video that I do actually want to turbocharge this car, and a lot of people are like, no, leave it supercharged. And my kind of argument is I want something with a lot more drama. But don't get me wrong, this car, although supercharged, so it doesn't put up too much of a struggle getting to speed, it is still a handful. It's still a proper handful. And it does take a bit of driving experience to actually get to know this car. I just looked out my rear window and it keeps getting me. And I've got this massive wang just there, like right in the middle of the windscreen. Like, you can't miss it. In fact, it's counterintuitive. It kind of, yeah, it's a bit of a blind spot. But anyway, it's race car life right now. It's race car life. And the first thing you notice when you're in this car is obviously the sound of it, because it is supercharged. So put my foot down a little bit and you hear the supercharger winding up straight away, because unlike a turbo, this is making boost at very, very low RPMs. So it pretty much drives like a naturally aspirated car, just with the addition of more power and yeah, amazing supercharger whine. Also, we've got this K-Tune billet shifter, which pretty much puts the gear shifter exactly where you want it, right in the hand. And yeah, guys, you really do feel like you're in a bit of a race car when you're behind the wheel of this bad boy. And talking about the wheel, again, Alcantara, small, this car is darty, it feels like a race car, it really does feel light. And quickly, let's touch on the weight of this, because in stock form, these apparently, and I might get it wrong, so forgive me, are only 1,180 kg, which is actually lighter than a Honda EP3 Type R. Anyway, guys, I know you didn't tune in just to hear me chat, so what I'm gonna do is flick on the MEF right now. I'm gonna drop it into second and get our first ball. Jeez! Jesus! Oh my God, this car jumps around. Are you hearing the revs, guys? That is like 8,500 RPM, and the supercharger whine is insane. It loves to be revved out. In fact, that is where it's making the bulk of its power, guys. This is mad. Second gear pull. Now let's get it. Shift light on the EML. Mad quick. Feel the diff working. This car, guys, this car absolutely screams. Are you hearing the sound of this? And going back to it, when you're cornering, you feel the diff working. I'm led to believe that this has actually just got the standard LSD in it, which they do come with an LSD. But for a standard LSD, it's aggressive. I'm telling you, if you're not on the ball, it will, honestly, it will pull you around. So you really got to grip onto the steering wheel. Guys, it's insane just how alive this little car makes you feel. It's crazy, but it's usable. You can use every one of those 316 brake horsepowers on a roll anyway, like, you know what I mean? A little wheel spin from the start, which, do you know what? In fact, I think we're demo right now. And also, you might have heard initially, this has actually got launch control mapped into 4,000 RPM. So let's do a little launch. Oh, spinning. Jeez! Spinning. Back on it. Wait, this is mad. Back down into third. Yeah, it's a driver's car. It's a driver's car. Bouncing off the limiter there. Look, I know it's a Honda. I'm trying not to do that too much, but you do get carried away in this car because, as I say, this car is making the bulk of its power right up there at about 8,000 RPM, and you can really feel it. The VTEC's kicking in at about just over 6,000 RPM, but then it's really, you really feel the power, the bulk of the power coming in at about 8,000 RPM, and Redline's probably about 8.5. The way it pulls, the way it sings, it's hydraulic steering. That's another thing I forgot to mention, hydraulic steering and a camber. The way this camber's been set up on it, it's like track camber. I believe it's got rear camber arm set up, so the rear wheel is actually sitting like that. And coupled with the LSD and the hydraulic steering, corners are just a pleasure. Go-kart, the way you can just throw it around is absolutely mad. And when you provoke it a little bit, the diff wakes up even more. Let's second gear. It pulls you around. Wait. Down into third, around the corner. That's mad. That's mad. I've got to work on my DMO shifts. Shout out to you too, brother. We're going to definitely do something with this car because I need you to bless it. But boy, it's just fun. It's just fun. That's what this car is. It's just fun. As I said before, I mean, I love the supercharger sound. I love the NA feel to a certain extent. But if I'm honest with you, I'm more of a turbocharged, boosted man. I like it to spike a little bit, especially in an older school Japanese car. You kind of want that foreplay before the boost comes in and sets you back in your seat. Or I do anyway. And I know front wheel drive cars, you know what I mean, you're never going to put all of the power down, you know, especially big power front wheel drive cars. This has got a K-Pro ECU, so hopefully we can do something with boost by gear and things like that. But what I want on this is a big turbo build. We might take it step by step, but as I say, things are already in motion to get this big turbo build going. It's just going to be a madness. It's just going to be a madness. I want flames out the bonnet. I want this thing to be scatty. I want it to be popping and banging. I want a screamer pipe on this. I just want it to be Asbo. When I first got this car, I kind of underestimated it. I didn't think it would be so much of an event when you get into it and actually try to drive this car. Now, I've never drove a stock DC5, so I couldn't really tell you what one of those is like. But if they're anything like this one right here, just the way it is so darty, just the way it's so reactive, and it feels so light, and guys, it's such an event when you go out in this car. It's like, I thought I'd be able to daily this. I probably would be able to daily it, but I kind of want to save this. I want to savor this feeling for like special occasions almost. It feels too good to almost, you know what I mean, commuting, if that makes sense. I really hope you've enjoyed my first drive of this supercharged DC5 Integra Type R, guys. I'm not gonna lie, it's a beast. Every time I've went out in this car, and it hasn't been a lot, I'm not gonna lie, it has put a massive smile on my face, and I almost feel like I've had a bit of a workout. Driving this car on a limit ain't that easy, but it's so rewarding when you get it right. All I'm saying is I cannot wait to really get my teeth into the build of this, because it's something I haven't done before. The older cars, a big turbo bit, as I say, guys, it's gonna be mad, and I'm really excited for it. So guys, if you ain't already subscribed and you want to follow this journey, please subscribe now. And if you have enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and share, and guys, we'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.